Even in types of anime, we have kind of a recommended reading list, and you better don't even think about calling yourself a fan before you haven't seen all of them. Now, let's forget about the Ghost in the Shells and Neon Genesis Evangelions for a second. From October 2014 to March 2015 as an anime, that deserves a spot on this list probably more than anything else. My name is Kristin, this is STALK, and today we're taking a closer look at Shirobako. Shirobako is an anime about anime production, and that is all you need to know. Going over important plot stations doesn't make a lot of sense here. Take this review more as a recommendation on how to best enjoy the series. The realistic setup is the boon and bane of Shirobako. While it's super interesting and fun later on in the show, getting through the meetings during the first few episodes can be frustrating. The cast speaks jargon and they speak it fast because they deal with the terms on a daily basis. If you don't happen to pursue a career in this field, reading the subtitles might at some point overwhelm you. Since the series is way too charming to sit it out, there's only one way around this. Do your research. I know, we all have enough to do with work or school or whatever you do, but having a slight idea how many steps are necessary to create that thing you consume so regularly, how much passion, quarrels and expertise went into it, changes the way you consume it. You come out appreciating it even more, understanding how the quirks you yourself might like to complain about come about and how they can be avoided, and therefore enjoying the next series you watch even more. To me, that sounds like a great deal for 5 minutes of research. Just write the buzzwords you don't understand down, look them up later or quickly pause the video and check Wikipedia on your phone. It will make watching Shirobako a lot easier. In the second half of the show they added an episode that went in detail over the various steps of a production process and explains them. I do wish this had been episode 5 instead of 15 though. To be fair, there's also a glossary on the Shirobako homepage, but it's in Japanese and Google Translate isn't exactly helpful. Together with the fact that Shirobako is a master of meta jokes and poking fun at real industry people and studios, it isn't an anime I would recommend as your first encounter with the medium. In that regard, I found it helpful that people on Twitter shared which side characters are referencing real people, what they are known for and what some of the quirks are. There were some people I recognized immediately and others I didn't. However, not understanding all the references doesn't take away from the experience. If anything, it adds to Shirobako's high rewatch value. I believe it's a show that only gets better the more often you watch it. Every time you come back to it, you as the viewer will have grown as well. Not only will you recognize more stuff in the background, you might have even changed your opinion on a few things. But referencing real procedures, real studios, real people is not only for entertainment purposes. It is regularly used as a subtle tool of criticism when scenes are recycled or negotiations with various agencies are depicted. Suddenly, what one considers art turns into nothing but an opportunity to squeeze every last yen out of the viewer. I'm sure that Shirobako's director Michiko Yoko and writer Tsutomu Mizushima are sharing some of their experiences and process a lot of things that irk them as well in this series. However, at no point Shirobako is preachy or saying straight out, "Our way and only our way is the right course of action." As with everything, the truth often lies somewhere in between those opposing opinions, and Shirobako handles finding a solution to questions the community likes to fight over as well, in the most graceful way, supplying the viewer with facts rather than bias to enable him to form his very own opinion on any matter, from the usage of CG animation to the lingering question whether old anime are better than any of the stuff that is produced nowadays, and even goes into detail about concepts we should pay more attention to, such as sound design. To make all of this work as a TV show and not turn into a documentary or a run, you need characters that are charming, act naturally, and have problems that are easy to convey. The cast of Shirobako is huge, therefore none of the characters have a detailed past or characterization, and they don't need it either. Nevertheless, each character has at least one trait to make him or her stand out, and we know enough about them to at least understand them. Maybe we have even met some of the characters in real life already. Shirobako also uses the various peculiarities of the industry to point out how they influence each character individually. We hate recap episodes, having used too many of them in a former production and therefore getting bashed by both critics and fans. The director in Shirobako seems almost traumatized by the thought of having to rely on them again, but Shirobako never pities him for that. Instead, it's clearly stating why his production turned into a fiasco, which is another huge plus for the show. So easily it could have turned into something completely self-pitying or self-indulging. Another example would be Emma's decision to become a key artist. Being a beginner in this field mostly means being ridiculously underpaid. In addition to that, she's constantly under the pressure of asking herself whether she's really good enough to pursue that career, and whether it even has a future with the rise of computer animation. From what I've stated, Shirobako might sound like a rather dire tale, but it's not. It turns running errands into road races, lets people discover superpowers to finish a storyboard, and the ruler might end up as a shuriken. A lot of scenes and characters are completely over the top and it makes them hilarious. It's never taking itself too serious, instead it's telling the story with a wink. The gorgeous and very consistent animation only adds to that. You can tell by the characters' faces exactly how they feel. In general, it feels like the first half of the series is an introduction explaining who is doing what and to what purpose, while the second half of the series is asking, with all the troubles we are facing on a daily basis, why are we still here? How did we end up like this? You can feel both the characters and the staff's passion in this arc. That's where Shirobako shines the brightest without losing its multidimensionality. For every character who got into animation because it's been his dream job, there are others who just happened to be at the right place at the right time and somehow stayed because of the atmosphere or things as simple as the payment. But there are also characters whose dreams might get crushed. No matter what their perspective on their job is, every last bit of it is empathetic. If you stick to everything I've said, I honestly have no idea who would dislike this show. Shirobako is the closest thing to a baby otter anime has to offer at the moment. I love it when a character's passion for something, be it sports, music, or animation, oozes out of the screen, and if you like that, anime, and the best kind of edutainment too, then Shirobako is definitely a must-watch for you. Every week, Shirobako was my saving grace that restored a little bit of my sanity after another messed up Sailor Moon Crystal episode or finding a weird discussion board online. Over the course of its 24 episode long run, I teared up during almost every episode because it's just so unbelievably good and smart and hits the nail on the head just so damn hard. Although it's been over for about 3 weeks now and new stuff is coming out, I still feel slightly empty without it. As a slight bonus, the shows Masami Animation has produced are being released in OVA form, and I'm looking forward to watching them. I really hope there will be a second season because there is still so much I want to learn about anime production. The most Shirobako way to kick this off would be to poke fun at shows that didn't exactly need a second season but got one because they turned out to be a huge financial success, which also resulted in a shortage in a DVD and Blu-ray production. They would most likely come to the conclusion that second seasons are seldom as good as first seasons, and I would even find that hilarious. The next show I'm picking up will be Death Parade. I'm also thinking about making a video about Parasite and Ultima Zero because there is a lot to talk about with these two. If you're interested in that, then don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next time.